गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मेस्तु। तदात्मनिरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांति। Dear friends, we are still in this fourth mantra only. Yad vachanabhyuditam yena vag abhyudyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. In the last class we read that mantra and then I also explained the word to word meaning of it and also started the bhashyam. Yat vacha anabhyuditam, that which is not expressed by the vak. Vak means the sense of speech. Then yena, not sense of speech, this organ of speech, that organ of speech. Yad vacha anabhyuditam yena vag abhyudyate, but that by which this vak itself is expressed. And tadeva brahmatvam vidhi, that which is behind your say sense organs, that which is behind your organs of action, you please know that that is the Brahman and not that. Nedam yadidam upasate, na idam yad idam upasate, that is not that, not this which people are worshipping, not which this people worship. When you say idam, so we discussed that word idam in the last class. When we say idam, idam is something which is in front of you, which is in front of you, which is apart from you, which is objectifiable, which is knowable, which is once you say it is knowable, knowable means what is knowable? Prameya, it becomes prameya. Manam, we know that word ma is to measure, meya is that which is measurable. When something is measurable, pra is only an upasarga, prakarshena meyaha, something which is measurable excellently, so then it is an object. So Brahman cannot be an object. So whatever you visualize and then whatever you see external to yourself is something which is prameya, which is knowable, and whatever is knowable is delimited. So that is why it cannot be the supreme thing. It may be something to do with your worship, and then it may be an alambana, it may be all these things. So now we have to be very careful in reading this line. The last class also I was telling, when we say nedam yadidam upasate, we should not join the band of all these atheists and all these rationalists. Atheists and rationalists, they say there is absolutely no God, nothing, there is only, it is all nonsense, it all intelligence arises with the body, dies with the body, so that is their theory. So we are not joining the band of say all these atheists. When we say nedam yadidam upasate, all that people worship is not that thing, not this. So when what we are doing is, this has a totally different relevance. All this is true at the vyavaharika level. All this is true because this what you take as an alambana, that worship which you do as a worship to a deity, you say define something in that supreme say in that maya only. You define something as Virat, something as Hiranyagarbha, something else as Ishvara. Some function you define it as Brahma. Brahma means that Chaturmukha Brahma, the four-headed Brahma. Some other function you say Vishnu, some other function you say Rudra. All these things are knowable, identifiable, and you have given them some names. Isn't it? We have given the names and forms to them. When you say God or something like an Ishvara, in the last class also I was telling, Ishvara in relation to whom? There is a Lord only when there is somebody to be lorded over. Ishvara is always a reference to, it has a reference to Jiva, isn't it? It is only when Jiva is there that somebody becomes an Ishvara. So when you say Ishvara, it is with respect to somebody. When you say Hiranyagarbha, it is with respect to something else. It refers to the Vishwam, the cosmic intellect. When you say Virat, it refers to it with respect to something else. That is with respect to the whole corpus, the physical, say, Sthula, Vishwam. Then when you say something else, Ganesha, it is with respect to some Vignam. When you say Lakshmi, it is with respect to wealth. When you say Saraswati, it is with respect to, say, education. So something like that we are defining. So idam, when you say, idam is something which is knowable. So that cannot be the supreme thing. So when you say that, say idam, it is separate from you, it is apart from you, and then whatever is apart from you cannot be Brahman. So that is what is it we saw in the last class. And when you say that Chaitanya Matra Sattakam, that also we saw. And then we read this line, evam tad abhivyangya shabdaha padam vag iti uchyate. So that is what we saw. Then we have to read this line. I think we just read this line. I was about to explain. Akaro vai sarva vak saisha sparshantastoshmabhir vyajyamana antastha. I pronounced it as antastha. It is not sta but antastha. Saisha sparshantastoshmabhir vyajyamana. Sparsha, antastha, ushma. When you combine all those things, sparshantastoshmabhir vyajyamana, it becomes sparsha, antastha, ushma. Okay. Saisha sparshantastoshmabhir vyajyamana bahvi nana rupa bhavati. I think this we discussed earlier in Kathopanishad also, because the most primary sound in a human being is simple A. Just open your mouth and let out your air, and then let the vocal cords vibrate. It becomes A. It produces a voice. When you don't even vibrate the vocal cords, it's simply you just let out air. Unless you aspirate, this sound Ha will not come. If you aspirate, Ha will come. If you don't aspirate, simply the air will be let out. But when you vibrate your vocal cords, that is the most primary sound. That is the sound in any language. So now, Vakaro vai sarva vak. We know that there are so many consonants, there are so many vowels, so many consonants, and so many other types of words. Vowels are those where the tongue is not touching any part of the body, any part of this mouth, and then the air is freely coming out. Only the mouth, shapes of the mouth keeps on varying. Shape of the mouth, shape of the position of the tongue keeps on varying. So depending on the position of the tongue and whether you are making the mouth round or so, you get the sounds E, A, oo, etc. When you say oo, you you bring your lips close and make it round. So that is how. But the air passage is very free. So these are all vowels. Consonants are those. Consonants in Sanskrit language are divided into different batches, 5 batches, each depending on the position of the tongue, where exactly the tongue touches the palate. Where exactly the tongue touches the palate. Where the tongue touches the palate in the very beginning, ka, in the very origin of the tongue, root of the tongue, jihva mula, then that is a ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, those sounds. So when you let out, when you are letting out this A, sound A, when you are producing that, you just stop it at this point, ka. Then you aspirate it, it becomes a ka. And then with slight difference, the same thing, the same place, another sound is produced, ga. Then again, gha. Then again, another nasal sound called nga. So this ka, kha, ga, gha, nga are produced by the contact of the tongue at the root of the tongue, with the palate, at the very beginning of the palate. Then similarly, when it comes slightly more forward and forward, suppose you say ta, tha, da, dha, na, ta. These are all called retroflex sounds. Ta, tha, da. The tongue, it makes a small twist upwards. Tongue actually makes a small twist upwards. You say da, na, ta. So it makes a small twist upwards, touches the roof of that palate. When it touches the roof of the palate, it produces the sound ta. Ta. You aspirate it, it becomes a ta. Then again you say da, dha, aspirate it. Then again there is a nasal word also called a na. Then again you come slightly forward, then above the teeth ridge, ta. Just above the teeth ridge it becomes ta, tha, da, dha, na. Then you close your lips and then produce pa, pa. When you say the same a, when you close your lips it becomes pa. The same a, when you close your lips and aspirate it becomes pa. Another sound is ba, bha, ma. Another nasal sound is, partly nasal sound is ma. Isn't it? So like that, these vowels they are touching. Because they are touching, it is called sparsha. Sparsha, you know, what is sparsha? Sparsha is touching, isn't it? So sparsha, antastha, ushmabhihi. There are three types of words, not words, letters. Three types of letters which are mentioned here. Sa, esha, akaro vai sarva vak. It means akara includes all vak prapancha is included in akara. That is what we saw in the discussion on Omkara also in Kathopanishad. A, u, ma. This includes the whole, say, Shabda Prapancha. So here the same thing is saying, Akaro vai sarva vak, saisha. Saisha means sa plus esha. The same sa, esha. Sa is, you are referring to this because vak is a feminine gender. Sa, esha. That, the same one, this very same one. Sparsha, antastha. Sparsha we saw now. Sparsha is a consonant where the tongue is touching certain parts. Then there are called, what are called semi-vowels. They are called antastha. When you say yeah, in English even Y is sometimes called a vowel, isn't it? Ya, ra, la, va. These are called semi-vowels. So they are called antastha. They are produced in a slightly different, totally different way. Then you let out some air, and then also some little bit of heat also is produced. Sha, sha, sa, ha. Sha, sha, sa, ha. Some little bit of heat also is produced when you let out air. So that is called ushma. Ushma is where some little bit of heat, some warmth. So ushma is where there is some, ushma actually means warmth. Some warmth is also produced. Sha, sha, sa, ha. So they are called ushma. So, ushmabhihi vyajyamanaha. Vyajyamanaha means those which are being expressed. Vyajyamanaha. They are being expressed. Bahvi, no, here of course, yesha, not vyajyamanaha. This of course, we are referring to vak. We are referring to vak. Vak vyajyamana, singular. Vyajyamana, that which is being expressed by all these things. Sparsha, antastha, ushma, etc. Bahvi bhavati. Bahvi means in different forms. Nana Rupa Bhavati. Bahvi is many. Nana Rupa means different forms. Many and different forms. Bhavati. Bahvi Nana Rupa Bhavati. This is Rigveda Aranyaka. Because, you know, if we see Panini's Vyakarana itself is based on some earlier Vyakarana texts. We know that Panini's Vyakarana dates back to say about 600 BC. So that is what all the linguists have agreed. Then Panini, of course, I must have told you, Panini was a person who was there, who was there somewhere near Lahore, which is in present-day Pakistan. And prior to Panini, there were several other grammarians. And then for them also again, such statements, Aitareya Aranyakam again is a very ancient document, which means that some 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, already our people had analyzed the speech organ, the organ of speech, how exactly words are produced, how these lips are functioning, how the tongue is functioning, and all this analysis was done by our people about 3,000 years ago, and this is the basis for modern linguistics. When all these Europeans came to India, they did not have linguistics earlier. So when they studied this Sanskrit grammar, then they developed linguistics, and then they have taken it to totally different heights. So they are very great students, we have to agree. But then they picked up this idea. They did not have this subject called linguistics as we have, this Bhasha Shastra. So, but anyway, so that is now a very big science that linguistics itself is a very big science. So, Bahvi Nana Rupa Bhavati iti Shrutehe. Then he is also referring to the type of words which are there in the Veda, the type of words or sentences which are there in the Veda. Mitam amitam swaraha satya anrute yesha vikaraha yasyaha
एव विकारः यस्याः.
Your book says eva. Okay, my book says yesha. It doesn't matter. Vikarah yasyah taya vacha padattvena parichinnaya karana gunavatya anabhyuditam aprakashitam anabhyuktam. Okay. He says mitam amitam. Mitam, I have kept my somewhere. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'll take this pen. Mitam is something which is measured. We know this root. I was explaining this root ma. Ma means to measure. Mitam means that which is measured. Measured means, so you have got some fixed number of letters in that in a particular line. So that is what is called a measure, isn't it? In English also we call it meter. Meter, matra, mitam, one and the same. They are all from the same root. So mitam is something which is fixed. Where is it that the sounds are fixed? Only in poetry they are fixed. Only when there is a particular chandas. When there is a particular chandas and when the number of letters are fixed in a particular line. For example, this Anushtup Chanda. What is this Anushtup Chanda? In that thing there are 8 letters which are supposed to be there. So that becomes Anushtup Chanda. In some other chandas the letters will be many. Shardula, the letters will be many. Maybe about 17 or something like that. 17 or 19, something like that. So like that, they keep on, for example, Shardulam is another longer, say, shloka. For example, Mukta Vidruma Hemanila Dhavalachayir Mukhaistrikshanaihi. So up to that point is one line. So if you count, I think there are 19. There are 6 ganas and 1 extra guru there at the end. So if you count, they become 19. So like that is all meter. Meter is chandas where it is mitam or measured. Amitam, when does it become amitam? When you say a sentence, when you utter a sentence, you are not reciting poetry. You are not, when we talk, we are not talking in poetry. Are we? We are not talking. We are talking in very, very free language and there is no, say, limit or there is no fixed number of words. You can use any number of words. So there is no, say, measure in that. So that is why it is called amitam. So mitam here refers to Rigveda, where all these Ruk mantras, Rigveda consists of all these mantras, Ruk Sukta. It is said they are called the Suktas. So Ruk Suktas, they are in different chandas, they are in different meters. So all those meters are something which is mitam, that is measured. When you come to Yajurveda, Yajurveda is amitam. Yajurveda, there are some mantras, there are lot many passages also, prose passages also. There are mantras which are again mostly taken from Rigveda, and then the same mantras in different contexts, how they have to be used, etc. And then there are several passages, there are certain other, say, prose sentences also. So that is why that is called amitam, where it is not measured. Then the other word is swara. We know that swaram, where do we get this word? We get this word in music, swaram. The swaram is high, the swaram is low or something like that. And there are this sapta swara, we know. Nishada Rishabha Gandhara Shadja Madhyama Dhaivataha. So that is what we see. Nishada Rishabha Gandhara Shadja Madhyama Dhaivata Sarigama Padani. So those things, isn't it? So those things, we are told that in Samaveda there are only 5 swaras, but subsequently this Sangeeta Shastram, they developed 7 swaras. Anyway, I don't know that Samaveda, so I can't talk about it. But here, of course, it refers to swara. Swara refers to Sama. Sama is where that Sama is the Sama. We know that Samaveda was, this Samaveda consists of the same mantras, the same Rigveda mantras. For example, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, the same thing will be there in Samaveda, but then it is sung in a different form. It is sung in a totally different form. They are, uttered, they are sung in the forest. Samaveda was supposed to be something which was practiced in the forest. We do not know the reason. Maybe some sociological reason must be there. So, Swaraha. Then Satyanrute. Satya Anrute. Satyam and Anrutam combinedly they become Satyanrute. Satyam is truth, Anruta is false. So when you utter, when you say certain things are true, certain things are falsehood, truth, falsehood, and all these things are various modifications. Vikaraha. Vikara is modification. All these things, there is a fixed thing, there is an unfixed thing, there is a sung, there is a something which is sung, there is something which you are telling as truth, something you are telling as a lie. So all these things, there are various formations, there are various say modifications of that vak only. Esha vikaraha yasyaha. Yasyaha means that for which all these are vikaras of this vak. Yasyaha vacha. Yasyaha vachaha, all these are vikaras. Yasyaha taya vacha, by that vak, padatvena parichinnaya. One more adjective is, it is again delimited in the form of words. When I am making a statement, or when I am using a sentence in my talking, so in my sentence there are so many words, and in all these words, in any language, it may be Telugu, it may be English, it may be Sanskrit, whatever it is, in all these languages there are certain words. Is it okay?
Yes.
In all these languages there are certain words. So all these words are again are parichinna. Every word has certain meaning. So that particular meaning only they can express. In a particular context, it gives a particular meaning. In a slightly different context, it may give a slightly different meaning. So all these things, they are limited by various things. So for this Padashastra and Vakya Shastra, they have come into existence. When we say Padashastra, we refer to grammar, Vyakarana. Vakya Shastra, we refer to Mimamsa. When you take a sentence, how a sentence has to be read, how a word has to be interpreted, how the connection between the words are there in a sentence. So all these things they are told in Mimamsa Shastra. So Mimamsa Shastra, there are different vadas. For example, there is what is called Abhihitanvaya Vada, Anvitabhidhana Vada. So different two important vadas are there in Mimamsa Shastra as to how to interpret a sentence. So we need not bother about them. So Padatvena Parichinnaya. So this Padam is something which is Parichinnam. Then Karana Gunavatya. So this Karana Guna, Karanam, what is the Karanam here? Karanam is that organ. What is this organ here? The mouth only. Karana Gunavatya. The properties of this particular organ are also transplanted on this particular vak. So we are now talking about this consciousness. Consciousness only is being expressed. Consciousness only is behind this vak. So it is the consciousness, it is expressing this vak. And then this vak instrument, whatever instrument is there, this instrument is only a sort of upadhi for that. So this upadhi gunas are also there transplanted on that the main consciousness. So Karana Gunavatya. So this vak is something which is also influenced by these properties of this mouth organ, what is called organ, the organ which is called mouth. Karana Gunavatya Anabhyuditam. Vacha Anabhyuditam. So by this vak, it is not expressed. What? That particular Atma, that which is Brahman. Earlier, in the earlier mantra, we heard that the same Atma which you talk about is Brahma only. Because Viditabhyam Anyat can only be yourself. And that Viditabhyam Anyat, when it is yourself and it is the same thing as Brahma. So that is what we saw in the earlier mantra. So anyway, Parichinnaya, Karana Gunavatya, Anabhyuditam. Anabhyuditam means not expressed. Aprakashitam, Anabhyuktam. It is na prakashitam is aprakashitam, na abhyuktam is anabhyuktam. It is not expressed. So yena brahmana vivakshite arthe sakarana vak abhyudyate chaitanya jyotisha prakashyate prayujyate ityetat yad vachoha vak ityuktam. Okay. Still continuing, this sentence is continuing, but we have stopped here. Yena brahmana vivakshite arthe. Brahmana, yena means brahmana. Yena, that is yena vag abhyudyate. We are now coming to this point. Till now we have seen this yad vacha anabhyuditam. That is over. Now we have come to the second portion. That is yena vag abhyudyate. What is by this yena? That is by whom? Whom are you referring to? You are referring to that Brahma only. That Brahma only is behind all these things. That Brahma Chaitanya. Brahma means Brahma Chaitanya. Brahma Chaitanya is behind all these things. Yena means Brahmana. Yena Brahma, we should not say Yena Brahmana. Yena, the meaning of Yena is Brahmana. By that Brahman, Vivakshite Arthe, in a particular fixed artham. Vivakshitam is intended to be told. There is a fixed meaning. Vivakshitam artham. Vivaksha, Vaktum Ichcha is Vivaksha. The meaning of Vivaksha is Vaktum Ichcha. That is desire to express something. Vivakshitam means that which is desired to be expressed. So Vivakshite Arthe. So you want to express some meaning, some content, there is some thought in your mind and you want to express that thought. So that is Vivakshitam Artham at that particular place. So in that Vivakshite Arthe, this Sakarana Vak, along with this instrument, Sakarana Vak, along with this Karanam, along with this instrument, this Vak, Abhyudyate means gets expressed. What is that? Then Chaitanya Jyotisha Prakashyate. So this Chaitanya Jyotisha is an explanation for this Brahmana. Yena Brahmana, Chaitanya Jyotisha. So Chaitanya Jyotisha is again an adjective for Brahma only. So Chaitanya Jyoti, what is that? Light of consciousness, let us say. This consciousness or the power of this consciousness only, by that power, Prakashyate, Abhyudyate, Prakashyate. Prakashyate means that which is expressed. Prakashyate. Prayujyate ityetat. Prayujyate means that which is employed. Prayojanam. Yuja dhatu. To employ. That which is employed. Prayujyate ityetat. Yad vacho havak ityuktam. Yad vacho havak. So that is what was told. Yad vacho havak we have seen. Vacho havak is the earlier mantra. Shrotrasya shrotram. Vacho havak. That is the speech of the speeches. So this Brahman, which is behind all these things and impelling and enabling you to speak, that is called Vachoha Vak. That is the speech of the speech. That is the speech organ behind the speech organ. That is the, motivating force behind that speech organ. So that is it. Vadan Vak. Yo Vacham Antaro Yamayati. Ityadisha Vajasaneyake. So we have seen this word Vajasaneyaka earlier also. Vajasaneyaka refers to Vajasaneyaka Upanishad is called Bruhadaranyaka Upanishad. The Bruhadaranyaka Upanishad, the another name is Vajasaneyaka. So here Vadan Vak. So there is, you see, there is this consciousness. When you say consciousness, it has no connection with any upadhi. So when it has some upadhi, so when it has the upadhi called this tongue or this mouth, this instrument called this vocal cords and all this system, the vocal system, it becomes a upadhi for this. Through this, it is expressed as vak. So through eye. So when it is expressed through eye, it is called shrotram. Not shrotram, chakshu. When it is expressed through the ear, it becomes shrotram. When it is expressed through the skin, it becomes a sparsha. So like that, this consciousness is there. Consciousness is there being expressed through so many media. All these media are nothing but upadhi, or otherwise called upadhis. So when it is having an upadhi, it is called either a vak or chakshu or shrotram or something else. When it has no upadhi, it is pure consciousness. So this is the primary thing which we have to remember. So here the same Vadan Vak is a line from Bruhadaranyaka. So there is that full line is Vadan Vak Pashyans Chakshuhu Shrunvan Shrotram Manvano Manaha Tan Yasyaitani Karmanamanyeva. That is the full line from Bruhadaranyaka Upanishad. That line says all these things Vadan Vak. By when it is speaking, it is called Vak. Pashyan Chakshuhu. When it is looking at something, it is called Chakshu. Shrunvan Shrotram. When it is listening to something, it is called Shrotram. Manvano Manaha. When it is thinking of something, Manute. Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam, isn't it? When it registers some sense impressions on itself, it is called Manas. So all these things, what are they? Tani Asya Yetani Karmanamanyeva. All these things are names of some activities. They are all activities. The names of those activities are called, say what is this, Chakshu, Vak, then Shrotram, etc., etc. But it has nothing to do with that Shuddha Chaitanyam. Shuddha Chaitanyam, when it has no upadhi, it is not seen at all. There is no drashta, there is no shrota, nobody. Only when there is a upadhi, then it becomes a shrota. There is something called listener, there is something called something which is listened. There is something called drashta, there is what is called a drishyam. Drashta, drishyam, all this duality arises only when the consciousness is in touch with an upadhi. So that is the point. So Pashyan Chakshuhu, Vadan Vak, all these things, they are names of certain activities only. So that is what that particular line from Brihadaranyaka says. Similarly, the other word is Yo Vacham Antaro Yamayati. Yaha Vacham. Vacham is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Vacham Yamayati. That means it controls the vak. Yamayati. Yamada dhatu means control. Yamayati, Niyamayati, all these things are one and the same. Yo, yaha, vacham yamayati. That is, it controls the vak. Where antaha, yaha vacham antaro yamayati. Inside, by being inside it, it controls. So that full line is Yo vacham antaro yamayati. That particular Brahmana is called Antaryami Brahmana. So that full line is like this. Yo vachi tishtham vacho antaro yam vang naveda. So that is the line. Yo vachi tishtan vacho antaraha. That which is there in the vak, vachaha antaraha. It is there inside the vak, that is the content of the vak. But then yam vang naveda. The vak itself cannot express it. It is being expressed by that power, but then it is not able to express, it is not able to describe that, the force which is behind it, the impelling force which is behind it. So, yam vang na veda, yasya vak shariram yo vacham antaro yamayati, yesha te atma. This is your atma. So, that is what that particular line says. This is your atma, which is there behind your vak, but then your vak does not know. This is the atma which is behind your eye, but then the eye cannot see. This is the thing which is behind your shrotram, but the shrotram cannot hear. So that is how all different lines go there in that particular passage in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So yaha vacham antaha yamayati Brihadaranyaka ityadi cha vajasaneyake. Then ya vak purusheshu sa ghosheshu pratisthita kasyit tam veda brahmanaha iti prashnamutpadya prativachanamuktam sa vak yaya swapne bhashate iti. Okay, then another, this quotation where exactly it is from, this reference is not given in this book also. Is your book giving no reference? So anyway, it says, must be somewhere from that Brihadaranyaka, I'll check up. Ya vak purusheshu. That particular vak which is there in all the beings. Here Purusha does not refer to man or a male. Purusha means Purishete iti Purushaha. By that definition, even a woman is a Purusha. Woman cannot be called a woman. Woman should be called a Purusha only because Purishete, in woman or in any, say, female of any species, this in the intelligence is there. This intelligence, that is consciousness, is very much there. So that is why they can all be, everything is called Purusha only. So here, ya vak purusheshu, that vak which is there in all these jivas, sa ghosheshu pratisthita. Ghosha means this varna. Varna, you say a, it is a ghosha. You say ka, it is a ghosha. You say ta, it is a ghosha. In all these ghoshas, ghosha actually means the sound which comes out. So in all these ghoshas, it is pratisthita. Pratisthita means it is well established. It is well settled or established. So that is the meaning, established. Sa ghosheshu pratisthita kasyit tam veda brahmanaha. Only very rarely somebody knows. Brahmana means Brahmagyani. Rarely some Brahmagyani knows this thing. So iti prashnam utpadya. So that particular question is raised. So if you take it as a question, prashnam utpadya, the text is saying, having raised this question. So if you want to put it as a question, kasyit tam veda brahmana, who knows it? Which Brahmagyani knows it? So that way you can change it also. Prashnam utpadya prativachanam uktam. Reply has been told, sa vag yaya swapne bhashate iti. Sa vak, that is, here another point which she says is, vak is not only something which is spoken when you are in the waking state. Even in your dream, you are using that vak. In your dream also, you are using that vak. You are speaking to somebody. In the dream, you are definitely speaking to somebody. In your dreams, you have so many characters, and then with all those characters, you are interacting, and then you are speaking also. And sometimes you are also speaking loud. Sometimes all the people around you, they wake up, so they wake you up, and then you are shouting something in the sleep. So sa vak. And even if somebody's tongue is cut off, the vak is still there in the mind. Vak is something which is there in the mind. Sa vak yaya swapne bhashate. It is not only during the waking state, but also in the dream state. It is there. This vak is something which is there in the mind. Sa vak. Then sahi vaktuhu vaktihi nitya vak chaitanya jyoti swarupa nahi vaktuhu vakter viparilopo vidyate iti shrutehe. So here again a series of quotations from Brihadaranyaka. So this line also is from Brihadaranyaka. This is a very famous line which is often quoted. Nahi drashtuhu drushter viparilopo dushyate. That is what usually quoted. Drushti instead of drushti, it is now vakta. This is vak that is being told here. So the reference is, say the consciousness is something which is always present everywhere, always everywhere present. And then there is no viparilopa, there is no absence of it, there is no failure of it. For that drashta, for that jnapti or knowledge or consciousness itself, there is no question of failure. This failure can be there in an indriya. This failure can be there in an indriya. The indriyas can go to, for example, in deep sleep, indriyas are withdrawn. In the dream it may be there, but in deep sleep all the indriyas are withdrawn. But do we mean to say that indriyas are not there? Do we mean to say that Atma is not there? Atma is very much there. Atma is very much there. Indriyas are only withdrawn. So that is why for that Atma, which is the force behind all these indriyas, there is no viparilopa, there is no failure, there is no absence at any time. So that is the meaning here. Sa vagyaya swapne bhashate iti sahi vaktuhu vaktihi. Vakti is vachana shakti. That is, vakti is the ability, the shakti means, what do we say? The power of speech, let us say, the power of speech, the capacity to speak. Vaktuhu is of that vakta. Vaktuhu is Shashti Vibhakti for vakta, for the word vakta. Vakta means a speaker. Vaktuhu means for the speaker. This vaktihi, this power to speak is something which is nitya. Nitya means it is eternal. It is eternal. Nitya vak Chaitanya Jyoti Swarupa. What is its nature? It is of the nature of Chaitanya Jyoti. That Chaitanya Jyoti, the light of that consciousness is behind it. And then there is no failure at any time. You may not be able to see it. For example, in a dark room, there are so many objects. And you are also having the capacity to see. But then there is the darkness, isn't it? What you need is light. So that capacity to see is always there. You have to only remove that ajnana, you have to only remove the adhyaropa. So that is what it is. So once you remove that adhyaropa, you are able to see all the objects. So removal of darkness is say compared to that removal of adhyaropa. So nahi vaktuhu vakter viparilopo vidyate. For that speaker, vaktehe. Here vaktehe is, you saw that word vakti. You can note down that word vakti. Vakta is different and vakti is different. Vakta means speaker. Vakti means the power of speech. So vakti, for that word vakti, vaktehe is Shashti Vibhakti. This vaktehe is Shashti Vibhakti for vakti. Vakti means that capacity to speak. Nahi vaktuhu vaktehe viparilopah drushyate. Both are in Shashti Vibhakti. One is a Shashti Vibhakti for vakta, one is a Shashti Vibhakti for vakti. You follow?
Yes.
Vaktuhu vaktehe. For that speaker, that there is no failure of that power of speech. So that is the meaning of this line. Nahi vaktuhu vakter viparilopo vidyate. Similarly, nahi drashtuhu drushter viparilopo drishyate. Drashtuhu. There, drashta is the word. Drashta means the seer. Drushte, drushti we know. Drushti means sight. Something like vakti. Vakti, that drushti is the capacity to see, the power to see. So drushte is again shashti vibhakti. Drushte kavehe, something like kavehe. Here again vakti. You must have heard the word kavi. Kavi, kavi, kavayaha, he kavi, he kavayaha. Kavehe, kavinam. That is something like that. This is something like that. So kave, like kavehe, it is vaktehe. There drushte. For that drushte, there is no viparilopa. There is no absence. There is no failure at any time. Na viparilopo vidyate. Then, say the question, that in Brihadaranyaka, the context is, the discussion is about Atma, whether Atma is there in Sushupti or not. So, is it seeing in Sushupti? So, that is the question. So, there the answer is, Atma's drushti is something similar to the sun's light. Sun's light. The sun is always there. Sarvalokasya chakshuhu, etc., etc. It is of the nature of prakasha. Prakasha swabhavam. It is basically prakasha swabhavam. Only when an indriya is there, it is manifesting. When an indriya or a upadhi is there, it is not there, it is not manifesting. That's all. But then its own prakasha swarupa is never lost. So that is the meaning. So consciousness is never failing. It is always there. But it has to be expressed through some sort of upadhi. So that is it. Nahi vaktuhu vakter viparilopo vidyate. Is it okay?
Yes.
Iti shrutehe. Then tadeva atmaswarupam brahma
Tadeva atmaswarupam brahma
niratishayam bhumakhyam bruhatvat brahmeti vidhi vijanihi tvam. So we have come to the third line. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. Tadeva brahma tvam vidhi. Tadeva. What is that tat? That atma swarupam. We have discussed what is this atma swarupam. Atma means chaitanya. Atma means that chaitanya. Nothing but chaitanya. You are the chaitanya swarupa. That is what it says. You are the seer. If you are seeing something, you are the seer. If you are visualizing a god, you are the person who have visualized. You are the person who have created that god form. If you are doing some Vishnu worship or Shiva worship or something like that, you are the person who have visualized it. So you have made it that idam. So if you give importance to idam, then you will become secondary. Whereas you are not secondary. You are the seer. You are the primary. So that is what it says. So you are the primary. You are seeing. So when you are seeing and then Vishnu becomes the object for your seeing, Shiva becomes your object for seeing, it may be an alambana. At the level of religion, it may be a totally different thing. But when you are coming to Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta talks in very, very shocking terms, isn't it? So this sentence can be seen as something like an astika, something like an agnostic or even an atheist type of statement. But then we have to see that this statement is something which has grown from the same Veda which has described this Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda in the beginning. So after all those things, this is the final level, isn't it? So we should not forget it at any time. So we should not say, okay, Nedam Yadidam Upasate, you should not go and say, no, don't go to temple. Because there are, unfortunately, suddenly if you, there can be some such teachers who also ridicule somebody going to temple, etc. We should not ridicule like that. Anyway, so Tadeva Atmaswarupam Brahma Niratishayam Bhumakhyam. Niratishayam, that is, you know this word Niratishayam, something which is unsurpassed, unparalleled. Bhumakhyam. Bhumakhyam means that which is called Bhuma. This Bhuma is a very important word which comes in Chandogya Upanishad. There is what is called a Bhuma Vidya. That is the seventh khanda of Chandogya Upanishad. So what is the meaning of Bhuma is, that which is great is Bhuma. Yo vai bhuma tat sukham. Yet the na alpe sukham asti. That is the line. That which is great, that which is very huge, gives you happiness. Of course, we should not think in terms of wife or husband. Wife and husband cannot be too huge. So here we are referring to something different. So na alpe sukham asti. If it is very small, there is no sukham. If it is very huge, there is sukham. So suppose you worship a very huge, very powerful deity, the most powerful deity. When you're thinking of the most powerful deity, it is useful. When you are referring to some village deity or some small deity, it is of less use. So you can understand from that point of view. But then here the meaning is totally different. Here the meaning is totally different. Meaning of Bhuma is totally different. It is not referring to any object, very huge object or anything like that. The very next line in the Chandogya Upanishad says, Bhuma is that state. What is that state? Yatra nanyat pashyati. Nanyat pashyati, nanyat shrunoti, nanyat vijanati, tad bhuma. Yatra nanyat pashyati. The seer, he is not able to see any difference. He is not able to see any distinction. He is not able to make any distinction. He is only seeing Brahman everywhere. He is seeing that Brahma Chaitanya everywhere. He is not looking at an object as an object. So all the Nama Rupas have vanished. It is only when you see this Nama and Rupa, then they become delimited. When you visualize some God, okay, this particular God, let us say, some God, some God X, let us not name. if you name Anjaneya or if you name Ganesha, the Upasakas may feel bad. So you can say X. So when you say X, then that X becomes delimited, isn't it? So here, Yatra Nanyat Pashyati, he is seeing Brahman everywhere. Then Yatra Nanyat Shrunoti, he is not seeing anything else. All the names and forms have vanished. Then Nanyat Vijanati, Sabhuma. So that is what is called Bhuma, where there is no Drashta, where there is no Drishyam. There is no such duality where there is no Drashta, Drishyam, etc., etc. He is, say, Drashta means a sort of Upadhi only. So where there is no, this is a state where there is no question of Nama Rupa Grahanam. There is no identification. There is no delimitation. So the whole world is seen as Brahman and not as a Nama Rupa. And when you have that Nama Rupa, it becomes Alpam. When you see something with a Nama and Rupa, that name and form, it becomes Alpam. So that is in that context, it is this Bhuma, the word Bhuma is used. Niratishayam Bhumakhyam. Bhuma does not mean something which is very huge. It is here, it is referring to that particular awareness of the sadhaka where he has attained that particular state where he is seeing Brahman only and he is not seeing any duality. So, yo vai bhuma tat sukham, where you are seeing that Brahman, then that is what is giving you happiness. And where you are not seeing that unity, that Brahman, you are seeing this diversity, you are seeing the duality. When you are seeing that duality, it is giving you some trouble, some tension, some sort of, say, raga, dvesha, etc., etc. So, when you are seeing the Supreme Brahman, there is no question of raga, dvesha. So, idam. So here, of course, there is one example which Akhandananda Swami Maharaj gives. So when you say this God, this idam, etc., you are referring to a particular limited thing, isn't it? So that limited thing can also can only give you some limited result only. So he refers to, say, 4 words which are used in this Bhakti Sampradaya. That is, you must have heard what is called Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sayujya, etc. So Akhandananda refers to those words. So when you say that this particular God gives you some Salokya Mukti, what does it mean? He is something like some sort of king who is allowing you to live in his kingdom. He is something like somebody, some village chief or somebody, some village landlord or some feudal chief who is allowing you to live in his area. Then next comes Sarupyam. He is also allowing you to wear similar dress as he wears. Then Samipyam. He is allowing you to come near and stay with him, have some dining, have some breakfast, dinner along with you. Then Sayujyam. Ultimately he merges you in him. So that is what is called Sayujyam. You may become a finger or a nail or whatever it is. That is what is called Sayujyam. It is ultimately merging in that particular God. But what Akhandanandaji points out is, somebody who is giving you all these things, he can also take away all these things. Somebody who is giving you all these things because you have prayed, you have requested him, you have done all sorts of prostrations and danda pranam and whatnot, he can also take away. So you have no independence there. You are still You are still a dasa only there. You are still, you say, okay, I am your mani banchanadara, you say. You still keep on saying, I am your bansha, I am your slave. So that is not moksha. So that is what Akhandananda says. So when you say idam can only give you a sort of limited result. So here bhumakyam brahmatvat brahmeti vidhi, that you please know as say Brahma. Vidhi means vijanihi, you please know tvam. Then yaihi vagad upadhibihi
वागाद्युपादिभिः
वाचोह वाक्
वाचोहवाक्
चक्षुषश्चक्षुः
चक्षुषश्चक्षुः
श्रोत्रस्य श्रोत्रम्
श्रोत्रस्य श्रोत्रम्
मनसो मनः
मनसो मनः
कर्ता भोक्ता विज्ञाता नियन्ता
कर्ता भोक्ता विज्ञाता नियन्ता
प्रशासिता
प्रशासिता
विज्ञानम् आनन्दं ब्रह्म
विज्ञानम् आनन्दं ब्रह्म
इत्येवमादयः
इत्येवमादयः
संव्यवहाराः
संव्यवहाराः
असंव्यवहारे
असंव्यवहारे
निर्विशेषे परे साम्ये ब्रह्मणि प्रवर्तन्ते
निर्विशेषे परे साम्ये ब्रह्मणि प्रवर्तन्ते
तान् व्युदस्य
तान् युगस्य
आत्मानमेव निर्विशेषं ब्रह्म विद्धि
आत्मानमेव निर्विशेषं ब्रह्म विद्धि
इति एव शब्दार्थः
इति एव शब्दार्थः
इति एव शब्दार्थः तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि. So what is the meaning of eva? Tad eva. Eva means only. That only. You know that as Brahman, not anything else. So what is that only? So that is what he is saying. Tat. What is that tat? They have explained. He is again say restating all those things. Yaihi vagadyupadibhihi. Vagadi upadhibhihi means by all these upadhis called vak, etc., etc. Vak is an upadhi, shrotram is an upadhi, eye is an upadhi, all these things are upadhis. By all these by means of all these upadhis, or by virtue, not by means, by virtue of all these upadhis, it is called vachoha vak. It is called the speech of the speech. Then chakshushas chakshuhu, it is called the eye of the eye. Then it is called the ear of the ear. It is called the mind of the mind. It is also called karta, bhokta, etc., etc. All these things, where has this kartahood come? Karta means the doer, the doership or doerhood, whatever it is. How has it come? It is only because of an upadhi. Bhoktahood, it has also come because of an upadhi. Vijñata, the knower. Vijñata is somebody who is seeing something as something different. Where there is a drishyam and there is a drashta and a drishyam, then only the question of Vijñata comes. Vijñata, not that Atmajnanam, we are referring to Vishaya Jnanam. So Vishaya Jnanam is only when there is a notion of duality. So this Vijñata, Niyanta is somebody who controls. Ni plus Yama. Yama dhatu is everywhere. Yama is to control, to regulate, so that is it. Ni plus Yanta. Nishchayena yamayati iti Niyanta. One who controls very effectively, that is Niyanta. Then Prashasita. Prashasita means one who administers, one who rules. Shasanam we know. Prashasanam we know. Prashasan means administration basically. Prashasita, one who controls. Then one who regulates, all these things. Then Vijnanam Anandam Brahma Ityevam Adayaha. Vijnanam Anandam Brahma, this again is a statement from Brihadaranyaka only. Brihadaranyaka 3rd Adhyaya, 9th, say what is this, Brahmana. So Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. So he says that there the meaning is Vijnanam Anandam is called Brahma. Vijnanam. Vijnanam means knowing about something. When you know about something, suppose I know that there is a pen, I like it. Something else is there, I don't like it. So some other jnanam is there, something else, I don't like it. Suppose I see somebody whom I don't like, so I am angry with that. I see some very good friend of mine, I like him. So all these things, raga, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, etc., etc., they are also associated with all our vijnanam. When you come to office, you have got some feeling. You either like your office or dislike your office or curse your office, whatever it is. So there is something, there is some mood associated with your coming to office. So you are coming to office, you are meeting, say your boss or some other people, that is a vijnanam. Vijnanam is some knowledge, some information, some sort of impression which has come to you. So all these vijnanas, Vishaya Jnana. Here Vijnana is excluding the Vishaya Jnana. So all the Vishaya Jnanams, they are giving you Sukham, Dukkham, Raga, Dvesha, etc., etc. But here when you are referring to this Brahma is merely that, not this Vishaya Jnanam, but that is purely that pure consciousness which is Vijnanam Anandam, pure consciousness which is of the nature of Ananda. That is what is Brahma, not Vishaya Jnanam. Here this word Vishaya Vijnanam, it is excluding that Vishaya Jnanam. Is it clear?
Yes.
So when you say Vishaya Jnanam can give you happiness, unhappiness and all these things. But then this particular Brahma Jnana is something where there are no upadhis. There is no upadhi, there is no drashta, there is no drishyam, there is no duality. When in that state, there is nothing, there is no question of unhappiness, there is no question of rivalry. Dvitiya dvai bhayam. The bhayam or fear is there only when you see duality. When you don't see any duality, there is no fear at all. So, Vijnanam Anandam Brahma Ityevamadayah Samvyavaharaha Asamvyavaharye Nirvisheshe Pare Samye Brahmani Pravartante. All these things like Karta, Bhokta, Manta, Vijnata, etc., etc., all these things, where are you employing? You are using all these things, all these Samvyavaharaha. Samvyavaharaha means transactional, at a transactional level. Vyavahara, we know, Vyavaharika Satta. What is Vyavahara Satta? The transactional reality. Some Vyavaharas here means all these empirical statements, all these statements at the transactional level. Transactional level we know. Transactional level and absolute level we know these two, the difference. So at the level of this, at an empirical level or at a transactional level, it is Samvyavahara, means that is the meaning. Then asamvyavaharye nirvisheshe samye brahmani pravartante. You are using all these statements in the case of asamvyavaharya, where all these samvyavaharas do not operate. Asamvyavaharya. You are using all these empirical statements in some other thing, in that Brahman, which is beyond the samvyavahara, which is beyond all these empirical utterances, statements and descriptions. So asamvyavaharye, something which is just transcendental. Then nirvisheshe, nirvishesha. Nirvishesha means where there is no adjectives, where there are no upadhis. Vishesha means an adjective, an upadhi, where there is no upadhis. Then para, pare, pare is saptami. All these things are in saptami vibhakti. Asamvyavaharye, asamvyavahare, nirvisheshe, pare, samye, brahmani, all these words are in saptami vibhakti. Saptami, Brahma is the main word, brahmani is saptami vibhakti. In that Brahman, which is asamvyavahara, nirvishesha, para means supreme. Then samye, sama, we know this word sama also refers to Brahma. Sama buddhir vishishyate, shunichaiva shvapakecha, pandita samadarshinaha. That word sama in Gita and also in Vedanta, generally in Vedanta, sama refers to that Brahma, where that sama buddhi, sama drushti is there, where there is no perception of duality. You see Brahman in everything. So that is what is called sama drushti. Pare samye brahmani pravartante. All these descriptions, all these empirical or transactional utterances are happening in the case of this Brahman, who is beyond all these things. Tan vyudasya, then having discarded all these things, tan vyudasya. Vyudasya means reject. Vyudasya, having rejected all these things, Atmanameva nirvishesham brahma vidhi. Atmanameva means know your own self. Atmanam eva, your own self as Brahma. Vidhi means you know. Iti eva shabdarthaha. That eva shabda, that eva, tadeva brahmatvam vidhi, is that eva means you are that Atma, that is your own self, is that Brahma, your own self which is the seer, your own self which is the intelligence, which is the perceiver of everything. So that is the drashta. So that is the meaning of this. So if the time is over, we will start in the next, continue the next. Is the time over? 1 more minute. So 1 more minute, no, we will do in the next class. This Nedam Yadedam Upasate, we will do it in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.